Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat Moonchild. I am a psychic, I am a medium, and I am also a Reiki master. This channel is all dedicated to information and to learning and to teaching all about the metaphysical and all different kinds of subject matter. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification for more videos and future uploads so you never miss out. And what can I say? Welcome. I'm really excited to have you here. Today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the chakra system, and we're going to be talking about what they are, what they do, how they function. So don't forget to keep watching and comment down below if you have any additional questions. I will make response videos. I am more than happy to. And I also wanted to let you know for my tarot card series, I know I just finished the major arcana. That was my last video. I am now going to be going through all the suits individually, and what each of those suits mean more in depth, including all of the cards and the card meanings. So keep an eye out for that in the future. Um, and don't forget, you can also find more content on my Facebook and Instagram. You'll find the spelling up here. At Moonchild Dreams, it is not spelled the way it sounds, so make sure you write that down. Thank you for watching. On to the video. Hey guys, I had to ground and center myself real quick before this video, hence my amethyst. You may see me playing with this quite a lot, or other stones at my desk quite a lot, because I made the very, very, very serious, unfortunate mistake of spilling the liquid of the gods on my altar of all things, which technically is kind of like my work desk, and I guess I should feel blessed that that's the case. I kind of feel like the spirits are a little bit like, I solemnly swear I am up to no good. I even have the wand. I solemnly swear I am up to no good. I hope all my other nerd friends in this community get the joke. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be verbally orating a lot of the information I'm going to be giving you on the chakra system. So you're going to probably want to get a piece of paper or a notebook and write down notes as I'm talking, because like I said, I will be verbally orating. I'm also going to be giving the Sanskrit names of the chakra system. So I do have my own little notes here just to make sure I can try to pronounce it the right way, best I can. It's not that I don't know how it's said, it's that my mouth does not want to mouth properly when it comes to the Sanskrit names. So if you do see me kind of glancing at my reference sheet, that's what that's for, along with just some other little quirks and tidbits. Going real quick into the history of the chakra system. The chakra system is thousands of years old, actually. It's really as old as yoga is. Yoga has some really strong ties to Buddhism and to Hinduism, and it's Sanskrit. It's a Sanskrit word that means to search for the mysteries of the universe inside oneself. It's believed that the chakras look like lotuses spinning clockwise. They're constantly in motion, as we are constantly in motion. We're alive. You can think of chakras like atoms. They vibrate, or cells, in energy form. But I have seen that people see chakras different ways, or sense chakras different ways, so they are highly interpretive. Some people see them as like a 3D cone shape coming out into the aura, both directions, front and back. I see them as spheres, or balls of light. My teacher sees them as lotuses. And some people see them as wheels, and they're thought to be very similar to wheels as well. Excuse me as I consume the liquid of the gods. Thank you. So we're going to be going through all 7 of the primary chakras. Before I really jump into that, I just wanted to notate that the chakras, though there are the primary 7 that function, there's actually more than that. It's believed that we have hundreds of chakras in our body. We have chakras located in our palms. So when an energy worker like that, they're activating the chakras in the center of their palms, and awakening their meridian system to allow the flow of energy to be more active. You also have hundreds of chakras throughout the body, kind of like our nervous system. We have hundreds of nerves. Their location for everyone is different, but the primary 7 tends to remain static or tends to remain the same. And going forward from that, it's also said that there is 7 above the crown chakra and 7 below the root chakra. The root chakra is the first, the crown is the 7th, and that's where it's said that our kundalini energy enters into the body. I'll make a separate video on kundalini energy and what it does. But for now, the kundalini energy looks like 2 serpents. One of them travels clockwise up the spine, which is the male or yang energy, to meet with the yin energy or the feminine energy at the crown, which travels down the spine in the opposite spiral pathway to form a double helix shape. Very much like this, if you can imagine that way. But it is something that a lot of us have seen, but we don't think about the 2 snakes intertwining. It's a symbol for medicine. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that if you stop and think about it, especially people in America. We have that symbol all over, especially like on our ambulances and things like that. There is a very, very strong connection to like Ayurvedic and whatnot in the chakra system and etc., kundalini, etc., 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 Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine, holistic wellness, all those things. So what I'm saying is modern day medicine does have roots in the old world medicine practices, apothecaries and whatnot. Just as a little FYI. Moving forward, let's actually go ahead and get started. We'll get started with the root chakra. The root chakra is our grounding chakra. It is located approximately 6 inches beneath the pelvic bone, directly beneath the pubic bone. It does have a lot of association physically with our bone and skeletal structure, our adrenal glands, our lymph nodes, the feet, the hips, and knees, and the foundation of our being. The root chakra is all about our foundation of being. It is our right to have. It is our right to be, really, in a lot of ways. When you think of the root chakra and foundations, it's not just our foundations of being, it's also our social structures, our hierarchy, where we feel we fit into this world, our sense of survival, security, and our primordial or primal instinct. Because of this, for example, if somebody has a fear of not having enough money or not having enough, which is why this is our right to have our sense of security. You can think of, if you're familiar with it, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is our base needs. If those needs go unfulfilled, like not having enough money to feed the family or put a roof over our head or food on the table, etc., etc., we'll get a blocked root chakra. And going into blocked chakras, real quick as a side note, blocked chakras are not necessarily the end of the world. It's very, 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 very difficult to have a perfectly aligned chakra system, and honestly, it doesn't really happen that I've seen or heard of. Never say never, right? But chakras get blocked due to insecurity or fear. And if we're being honest, everyone, for the most part, has fears or insecurities or doubts concerning some aspect of our lives, or their lives, really. So it's normal sometimes to have a blocked chakra system. And another side note is, to you healers out there, if you're doing a healing and a chakra does not want to open, sometimes I find it better to leave a chakra closed so that person can process that karma or that emotion on their own timetable. I don't find it necessarily positive to force a chakra open that's not ready to be open yet. So again, a fear of lack, insecurity about where we belong in the world, not knowing who we are, that can create a blocked root chakra. And the Sanskrit word for root chakra is Muladhara, which you can find here. Moving on to the second chakra. The second chakra is the sacral, located in the lower abdomen. That is Sanskrit Spatsithana. Again, spelling right here. And that rules physically our lower bowel, elimination, reproductive system, hormones concerning our reproductive system, emotionally, our sense of creativity, our sense of, again, feelings concerning reproduction, trying to be a little PG here. It also rules our subconscious emotion. And when we say create, it's, again, if you've watched my other videos, not just about artistry, it's about creating our life. So that's also our pleasure center, our sense of fulfillment, how we're creating the world around us and our reality. That's the sacral chakra. Its color is orange, if I haven't mentioned it yet. That's our right to feel. Moving on to the solar plexus. The solar plexus is our power center. It is Manipura in Sanskrit. Its color is yellow. It is all aspects of self. It is our self-esteem, our willpower, our innate sense of what we can do. It is our right to act. So when you think of action, you think of will, to do, to go. That's a very, very strong association with a masculine energy. And by the way, I forgot real quick the elemental associations with the chakras. I'm sorry. I wanted to actually add the additional information as well. Let me go through real quick. Additional information. Elemental for root is earth. Elemental for sacral is water. Elemental for the solar plexus is fire. And I actually wanted to ask to add the music note association. So if we're looking at the music notes, the root, sorry about that, the root is D, the sacral is E, the solar is F, solar plexus is F note. There's also another system of sound healing that has it being completely different. For those of you that are interested in sound healing and notes, the other system of sound healing, and I'm not very well studied in this, that's why I wanted to go back to my notes to make sure I had it correctly. The other system of sound healing that uses notes is actually starting at root chakra being A, going all the way through the crown chakra being G, which is very, very different. I did read that online. I did do a little bit of research, but I hadn't really pursued it fully. So that's just some side information for those of you that are interested. Going back to the solar plexus, like I said, it is yellow in color. It is our right to act. All aspects of self-esteem, so things that close the solar plexus, is feeling powerless, feeling trapped, unable to do something, accomplish something, a lack of self-confidence. All those will close down solar plexus. The solar plexus is also said to be the seat of the soul. I've read that in some ascension work, so that's something that's also an interesting notation, rather than it being the heart chakra. The first three chakras, which again are root, sacral, and solar is located in the diaphragm, in literally the solar plexus area. Those are considered our lower chakra system, all things to do with earth based experiences, our human experiences. And the solar plexus also rules our higher emotional spaces, what we're more conscious of, rather than the subconscious emotional reactions like the sacral tends to rule. Subconscious behavioral patterns like the sacral rules, our solar plexus rules are more conscious reactions. And its areas physically that it rules is the stomach, upper bowel. It also rules detoxifying organs such as liver, spleen, kidneys, and it also rules pancreas. So that is the solar plexus. The heart chakra, which is probably the most popular chakra. Everyone's so focused on their heart chakra. It is a very important chakra in a sense that it is the center, or you'll hear me use the word bridge a lot. When I use the word bridge, it's between one space and another. So it's the bridge between the lower chakra system and the upper chakra system, which is up here. Of course, the heart chakra is located at the heart. Its element is air. It is green in color. I prefer like an emerald green. So if you want to talk shades, orange is like a nice solid orange, just very, very orange. I like, for the solar plexus, a yellow. Actually, I got a great example, a yellow like this. Very, very strong, like a sunshine yellow. And the root chakra to me is, again, just very, very, very strong red. Just red. So when you're thinking of those colors, you're thinking of like red. You're thinking of like orange. You know, that's fairly light for the orange one. I actually have 7 chakra candles there, which is very, very convenient. Ironically, I forgot that they were there. I just looked over and I was like, hey, that's a great example. But really, I wonder if I have another orange example, because you know what, we'll let it go. It's just very orange. So when you're looking at shades, especially if you're reading the chakra system, I know this is kind of a segue from the heart chakra, but this is also to note if you're doing readings and you're using the chakra system in readings. I just kind of speak as I think sometimes, so please excuse me. Shade actually does matter, the shade of the color. When you get like a deep, almost tan yellow, instead of that bright, vibrant yellow in the solar plexus, for example, that's not a sign of a healthy chakra. anything that's like too pale or too dark, very, very dark. There's only one chakra that's kind of an exception for, and that's like throat and third eye, and we'll kind of explain that in a second. But when you're looking at those chakras, too light or too dark is like blocked, overactive, too light is like underactive, not enough. And you'll hear that from me in terms of balance, not enough, too much. But going back to the heart chakra, I like a forest green or an emerald green. I really like to use like gem colors for the chakra system, just because it's fun and it's kind of pretty. And who doesn't like that? Maybe some people. I can't speak for everyone, obviously. The heart chakra's Sanskrit name is Anahata, and it is our to love aspect. The thing about the heart chakra also being the bridge, notably as an example, is that's where a lot of empaths absorb through the heart chakra. A lot of empaths absorb through the solar plexus as well. And it's not just our love, it's also our give-receive balance. So if we're not giving back to ourselves, or if we're not loving ourselves appropriately, we will have a closed heart chakra. I've actually had people kind of not be so happy when I said they had a closed heart chakra, because to them that meant they weren't being loving enough, and they were like, well, you know, I'm so giving, I'm so helpful, I'm so this, and it's not always about how much you're doing for someone else, it's also how much you're doing for you, what you're doing to give back to you. Things like loneliness, anxiety, self-isolation, and not receiving from others, not receiving compliments, not receiving gratitude, not receiving help will generate a closed heart chakra. So that's something to be aware of, and it's, to me, actually very important to understand that. So many people have closed heart chakras. So many people have closed heart chakras because they're not loving themselves, and that seems to be almost a pandemic. It's really common nowadays to do that. So keep that in mind, to keep that give-receive imbalance, to have a healthy heart chakra. Its element is air, which is actually pretty appropriate. It rules the breath. It rules the heart and lung spaces. It rules our circulation. So that is heart chakra. We are going to go ahead and move on to the throat. The throat is Visuddha. Now, as I was saying before, the colors for the throat, third eye, and crown are actually fairly transmutable. Its element is sound, like the Om symbol, Om. If any of you are familiar with Om, this is the spelling. You can find that image online. It represents the sound of creation. When the universe was created, there was a sound, and that is what brought forth all life. It's the idea of speaking into reality, speaking into creation, speaking into manifestation. So obviously, throat rules all aspect of speech. It rules jaw, mouth, sound, voice box, larynx, tonsils. It also rules thyroid, jugular, and all the stuff going on in this particular area. And really all it really has to do with is speech, speaking truly from the heart, honesty, etc. A closed throat chakra tends to be somebody not speaking truth, not speaking from the heart. It's not always about lying. It can be about holding back. A lot of the times I see that, holding back words, holding back feelings, which is also very common nowadays. So it's very easy to have a closed throat chakra if you're holding back how you feel. The third eye, or the brow chakra, is aina. It is to see, and I'm sure you gathered from the throat, that is our right to speak, our right to see or to perceive. With the throat chakra and the third eye, like I said, going back to color real quick, I like to see third eye as this color, but that's how I see. Sometimes it's a light purple, like that. People will use this kind of blue for the throat. I like to use this kind of blue, or lighter. I like a solid blue. Sometimes sapphire, depending on the situation. But usually closed chakra for me looks black. So shade here is a little bit more transmutable or changeable. You can use this light lilac color for the third eye, or a deep amethyst color like this actual Super 7 amethyst color for the third eye, amethyst. But if you also think of amethyst, luckily I have so many great examples here. If you look at amethyst itself and color association, you've got the lighter colors. That brown there is smoky quartz actually, but you get the lighter colors in the amethyst, and then you get that dark, rich purple. That's actually a wonderful example of the way that these colors are transmutable or translatable in the third eye, throat, and crown. It's really quite a great example. You can use these two examples, clear to white being the crown. But we're going to go back into the crown in a second. We haven't actually even gotten there yet. So going back to the third eye, that is our perception, our thought. That is the way we see the world around us, or see 3D reality. It's also our psychic perception. Most people associate third eye with psychic ability. It is a chakra that's all about opening the mind, intellect, learning. And this is our human intellect, primarily speaking. Too much in the third eye can be like racing thoughts, worries, mental list making, never getting your brain to be quiet, which is a huge complaint for a lot of people when they can't meditate. I just can't get my brain to shut up. We'll actually make a meditation video, quick how to meditate video. I would actually like to do that. I'd like to address that for those of you that have that issue. But going back to the third eye, it is light in elemental correspondences. It is our intuition. And I see third eye, like I said, I like to see it as an amethyst color, but you can use indigo as well. A lot of, like I've said before, if I remember correctly, I don't remember, a lot of those bridge stones for the third eye are actually indigo in color. Indigo, or a very deep, like bluish purple, like tanzanite, or sugarlight, or charoite, or lapis, or covalite, or just these different stones that range between these like blue and purple tones. That's really, really very common for third eye and for crown chakra, or third eye and throat. I'm sorry, third eye and throat chakra. All right. I think I covered all that. But as I was saying before, too much, the racing thoughts, you want to shut that third eye down. Shut it down. When something is too much, it's too overactive, sometimes you need to shut a chakra down to give it a rest. It needs to rest. You can't always have the hamster on the hamster wheel in any chakra. Too much, not enough, you know. you can't always be exercising, just like you can't always just be stationary. You have to have a middle ground between the two. And with that, you can use orange stones for the third eye. When you're trying to slow a chakra down, according to my stone teacher, kudos to her for this information. If you would like to actually find more information on her, I'll put a shout out down below to her Facebook page. So that's something that you can look at. But she told me you can use the complementary color on the color wheel if you know the color. And you can look up a color wheel on Google, and the complementary color will shut down the chakra. So that's why orange for the third eye. Going on to the crown chakra, that's Sahasrara, and I'm sorry, that's the spelling. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. That is, I like to see it as white in color. I know I keep looking down, I'm thinking so much. There's so much to say about chakras, so I'm trying to keep track of where my thoughts are at. That's located here at the top of the head, about 6 inches, 3 to 6 inches above the top of the head. I do like to see it as white, and you'll see a lot of crown chakra stones like selenite. By the way, this is a wonderful stone. I suggest you look that up. If I haven't talked about it yet, guys, this is one of the most multifunctional, helpful tools for any budding metaphysical practice that you could possibly have. So that's something to also keep in mind. A lot of your crown chakra stones are white, and I see it as white, and I actually see it with sparkles or like prism. It's like a prism. Like if you think of the way light refracts through a prism, it just kind of puts all that light all over. Like if it was a facet cut prism, just throwing light all over the wall. That's how I see the crown chakra, which I think is quite glorious. To be honest, I really enjoy that association. But with the crown chakra, it can be more like a light violet in color. It can be clear. Some people have said clear. Your clear stones do very, very strongly connect to the crown chakra as well. Quartz is a great example. But quartz can be programmed to pretty much any chakra. So that's also something to keep in mind about your clear stones. But apophyllite, petalite, danburite are all great examples of those stones. That is our right to know. That's wisdom's higher spiritual knowledge, our spiritual connection to a higher power. It's a connection to our higher self and all those higher concepts, Christ consciousness, consciousness period, the things that make us human, but also creation, source, enlightenment. That's the crown chakra. A lack of faith can shut that down. And what is also good to know with the crown, I'll get there in a minute, I'm sorry. Something that's really good to know with the crown is that it can sometimes get a bit disconnected if we're not grounded enough. It can elevate too much or too high if we're spending too much time in our spiritual practices and not just dealing with the mundane or material world. You may hear me say those words, mundane or material. It doesn't mean to be materialistic. I'm literally talking about our 3D reality. I'm talking about paying our bills. I'm talking about balancing the checkbook. I'm talking about cleaning the house. I'm talking about family, relationships, just being human, period, as in reality. So that's something also, again, to be aware of. With crown and root, going back to those two, because I know I brought it up at the very beginning of the video with the Kundalini energy. That's where our energy enters and exits. I think that a lot of people do bring a lot of focus to the crown chakra, opening the crown. That's our channel, our psychic ability, our intuitive ability. They rule our psychic perception, both of them. They both rule the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the cerebral cortex, our circadian rhythms, our sleep cycles, our sleep patterns. And I see a lot of times a very active crown chakra, too active. There's a lot of built up energy there because it's not flowing properly or correctly. I see a lot of people neglecting the root in favor of their upper chakras, or a lot of people neglecting their lower chakras in favor of their upper chakras. And that's, you can't have one without the other. You have to have both. If you're going to be working with your chakras more in depth and you want to learn about them and practice with them and heal them, or whatever you want to do with your chakra system, you want to keep attention to the whole, not just one, not just the other. I actually suggest to people that are beginning their practices, just as a side note, probably to begin with the root and work your way up. That's not going to be true of everyone. If your intuition overrides my suggestion, please follow your intuition. I am not the end-all be-all information. I do not know everything. That's really, really, really important to know. Trust yourself first. This is just for information. This is just for discussion purposes. This is just so you have a more basic understanding and a more in-depth insight to what chakras are. And there's, again, so much more to be said about all these subject matters. But a lot of these videos are meant to be introduction videos to these concepts and to these ideas. So that's all your primary chakras. Those are your 7 chakras. Again, from 1 to 7, your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, or navel, by the way, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. I think we've completed the video. I hope that was pretty easy to keep up with for those of you taking notes. Thank you so much for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification for more future videos. And I guess I'll see you all in a couple days. There was one more thing I wanted to add. Give me a minute, I'll get there. When you're doing chakra opening meditations, this feels kind of channeled. When you're doing chakra opening meditations, as I was saying before, you don't necessarily want to force a chakra open. Doesn't matter what chakra it is. You don't want to force a Kundalini awakening. You don't want to force a chakra to open. You can work with it. You can soothe it. You can heal it. But to force because you want to move further along your path at a faster rate doesn't make you be in a better place. You'll probably have to go back and redo the work again eventually. I know this is a huge PS, but I've seen a lot of times people that are trying to rush their spiritual awakening process or their spiritual enlightenment process, or They want to be more or better or this or that, and that's not what it's about. A spiritual awakening should be an organic process. Follow your natural curiosities, follow your natural things that you're compelled to look into, compelled to do, because those things are there for a reason. Yeah, follow your intuition, but don't force it, don't rush it. If soothing it and doing inner child work, we'll make another video on inner child work, absolutely, but inner child work and soothing yourself and talking to yourself and affirmations and meditations are not doing it. There's something deeper that needs to be addressed that isn't going to just be addressed with rocks and isn't just going to be addressed by skimming over the issue. That's something important to know. All these things are not to replace anything or to just make it act like it doesn't exist. It's there to help you and to be a tool for you to help you grow and heal and aspire to be all that you can be. So that's really, I feel, the last thing I wanted to say. Right, guys? Any more channeled messages? No. Wonderful. That was a wonderful little tidbit. That wasn't from me. That was from my guides that I felt channeled to say. So if anyone needed to know that, just rest assured, you growing at your own rate is the perfect rate. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all again, my precious lovelies.